Hello and welcome. It is, of course, Solo Sunday, which we have arrived for, finally. We've had some things come up last few Sundays, and something came up this Sunday, but here we are. Unfortunately, I took a burst of laser rifle fire to my right arm, so here we are. It would make preparing and setting up certain things difficult. So instead, we're doing this the easy way, as I am slightly unprepared. As you can see, La Critura found the hat. So let's see. And I have one other thing, I suppose, before we begin. I have my coffee, of course. It is good coffee, made differently. It is, I mean, in I believe, the terminology of your language. I believe it would be considered made using something similar to a French press, which is not how I usually have my coffee. But the conscripts heard the complaint about the coffee not being as good as it could be, and they put in an effort. You have to give it to them. So let's get down to business. It is Solo Sunday, and we'll be following our adventures. And we will start with a brief statement, of course. Albie Parvis steps forth looking at her Corvette, checking the outside for any scarring or decay before heading towards, out the window, of course, before heading towards the airlock itself. As she approaches the airlock, she will smile, ready to take the ship out beyond the last civilized lane and into the frontier. This is, of course, episode 1 of our adventure. I had to come up with a brief title, so I suppose the title is Salvagers and, no, Surveyors and Salvagers. Yes. Yes, homeless Basil took over. Only until my arm gets better. I should be back on Wednesday, more than likely. But let's see. Okay, so first things first, we know where we are. We are here. Doesn't necessarily have a name, but what facts do we have? A trade hub city imports and words imports goods from the deeper frontier, and this settlement is a thriving shipyard with incompetent leadership, making it a notable location for crime and pirates. So, we also know that they want trade routes up north, but we're probably not going to get into the local politics between this star system and this trade nation over here. That's not, I mean, we could, but we're here to explore and make money. So, what we are going to do is, well, prepare to head out into the deep frontier. Our goal, of course, let us bring up our goal sheet. Anyway, yes, not only is my arm all messed up, it has been a while since we've done a solo TTRPG, so I'm a bit, well, a bit out of practice. Yes, I took a burst of laser rifle fire to the arm, unfortunately. But again, it should be back as good soon. Here's our work scraps. Our goal is, of course, to find an ancient station deep. I say deep, it should be theoretically nearby here. An old last survey outpost was recently found in the frontier, dating back to approximately 800 years ago. Greytree, who we work for, suspected has some research, some data on resources and lanes that they can use. We're going to go and find it for them. So, that's our plan. First things first, we, hmm, well, we could just start flying away from here. We have supply, technically. I assume our ship is full on supply, which means it can run for 1 year without resupply. Of course, we'll have to get it maintained and all that, but theoretically, we have like a year of supplies and fuel and all that. So, we don't need to. I mean, we could always buy more things theoretically, but it's not like we need to buy too much before we set out. One thing we might want to do is not set out blindly. As I have implied, we are on a space station. One thing we should do, to begin with, is begin asking around, see if anybody has any information on this ancient station. While it's not likely, it's better to check than to, you know, not. Oh, wrong, wrong. I wanted to open our, huh. Well, that's that is something I completely forgot to prepare. Wild. Uh, okay. Sorry. It turns out, uh, okay, so I've just come to the realization that the dice roller is not working. I can get it to work. I just require a minute. Again, we did have our conscripts transfer and upgrade our device here. So things are a bit unset from what they were and what they are supposed to be. It's wild to think the data sheet works, but this doesn't. Huh. Okay. Oh, almost there. Do not worry, the conscripts will be shot for this. The big question, can I just upload this into here and not absolutely destroy everything? Whoa, it works. Powerful. That was worrying, scary, and I'm shocked that it actually worked. Well, now we can do this properly. I mean, I could, of course, have just, but I like being able to show the results. So let's see. I'm only slightly in the way. Okay. I mean, we might be able to just shift this over there. We'll see. We'll roll and then we'll see. And what we will be rolling is, what was our question? We were trying to gather information. Okay. So let's actually start with the step one. I knew I'd have to roll, but I'm doing things out of order. We are trying to gather information. Do we have any ability in this? We have to find our character sheet. Here we are. We do. So T plus 2 means we will be rolling with a plus 4. And then we will add what? As I check the book. Here we are. We're basically making an investigation check, and it will be rolled using charisma. Okay, so a 4 plus 2, so 6. Now, 1d20 plus 6, and we give it a roll. And it turns out it's not visible. We can solve this easily. Wow. 11. Very not ideal, but we can work with it. We can work with it. 11, not the best. That is, what's the chart specifically say? An 11 for searching for information is going to be, it is a obscure, and we're asking in a station. Okay, it was a long shot to begin with, but basically we are way off. So, luckily, the way we're doing this is we get to roll one more time. We don't get to roll this check again, but we get to roll something else that we can modify with it. I will explain as we go. Well, actually, we can re-roll a failed non-combat skill. We could re-roll, which with an 11, I think we're going to do. I mean, the chances of us succeeding are not high, but this is to boost another roll. So we will go again. 13. Still terrible. Wow, we've rolled below half. Okay, so that won't actually much improve our check. But what it does mean is our next roll is going to be terrible. Our next roll is going to be 2d10 as we are asking the bot. And because we didn't succeed, the difficulty and likelihood of the question are going to be low. In this case, here we are. In this case, GMBot is the target number for a success of 2d10 is 11. Modifiers can be applied to increase or decrease that chance because not everything's a 50-50. In this case, it is unlikely. In fact, it is very unlikely that anybody would have any information on what we're seeking. So we are going to go from what was a -6 to, because we failed the check, -8. Because normally, the reason it's done this way is normally a GM would determine if anybody here had any information. Just because in a campaign you succeed your gather information check does not necessarily mean there's information on what you're asking about. Now, what I would do if my player rolled high on their gather information check, but like my players decided to be a bit non intelligent on their planning, and we're like, we're going to ask about the corporate the the corporate plans over in like the corporate secret files in the slums. Even if they rolled very high, maybe I'll give them some information that they might find interesting, useful. I might give them a clue or something beneficial they can use later, but it's not like they would find what they were looking for if they were searching there. So I'd give them something useful if they succeed, but I wouldn't give them necessarily the information they seek because they're looking clearly in the wrong place. And I might obviously, well, I would obviously tell them, it does not seem in your search that these people have any information on the corporate hierarchy or the things going on there, given that it seems these people do not interact within those circles. Likely you can find people who interact in those circles in the corporate district or something like that, you know. But we're using a bot, so yeah, huge improvement, +2. Um, so we're going to roll 2d10 -8. Because it would be -6, but we actually didn't even succeed the check, so it's going to be -8. So the likelihood of the bot saying somebody has information here, lowest possible. Well, not lowest possible, but Near. Okay. 7. The 7 on the bot is no, no, no. It's just no. It's not even no because, but it's not an exceptional no. It's just we're asking about an 800-year-old lost survey station that's not necessarily in this star system. It's somewhere else. So, you know, the locals don't have any information, at least not here on the station that we're asking about. They're, you know, not Juliana. Sorry, I'm used to our other character. For those of you who know, long ago, our previous solo streams followed the adventures of Juliana Aldis. She's still out there. We can check in on her sometime. There's also another character we followed even further back, but we're following Albie. I just simply mixed the names up. Albie, yes. So, Albie will ask around, going to the local spacer spots, listening to rumors, checking if anybody's heard of any surveying stations, and because the way investigations work, we do get a bit of info and a clue. Even though we failed, we get something. Why? Because we're literally going around asking and we didn't roll a 1. That doesn't mean necessarily that it is of any use to us. The clue is useful, but basically what we get is information that's unrelated at all whatsoever, but we might find useful somehow at some point, which is a rumor. We acquire a clue and a rumor. Let's see. We'll add that to our inventory near the bottom. One clue, and we have a rumor. A clue is an item. A rumor is a bit of information. And basically, an old spacer informs us, as I suppose we should know what context a little bit. As we're asking about old survey stations, an old spacer informs us of an old station, in fact. Well, I say station, the correct term would be outpost. An old outpost on a foresty world nearby. And if you ask me, genuinely, that's a good lead. So while there's no information, we have a clue that we could use for a variety of things that we'll cover if we ever want to, and information from an old spacer about a outpost. Now, it's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a space station with data on FTL lanes. But if there's an old outpost on a forested world, how old is that outpost? I mean, he probably doesn't know, and we don't know. It might be from that era of surveying. It could be. So it's a good lead for us to follow up on, theoretically. And I will just assume we are given the location. Well, well, I shouldn't assume. We'll give us a +2 on this. Will the old surveyor inform us free of charge where it is? If no, we'll have to pay him. extreme no, then he doesn't know where it is. If yes, he'll tell us. If extreme yes, I don't know. We'll figure it out. 6. 6 is so close to an exceptional no. Oh, it is just a no, though. So, no, we have to pay him if we want this location. And, we will, I suppose, begrudgingly pay him. We have 20,000 credits. How much does he want for this? For that, we'll roll a d8. 5. An average amount that you would pay for this kind of information. Luckily, we have a chart for that additional. A guidebook on law. Here we are. Information selling. Not lodging, not taxes, not bounty hunting. Information. Here we are. We just want words, basically, coordinates. It is not restricted or anything, so we're looking at a ×1. 0 additional money per unit. A 1,000 credits. Because it is technically a little specific. It's not restricted, it's not protected, but it is specific. So 1,000 creds. Yeah, we'll pay. We'll hand the old spacer 1,000 credits, and he will basically reveal to us, well, he'll transmit the coordinates of this station. We'll thank the old spacer before I suppose, concluding our questioning around here for the information. We are rolling low today. Let's see. Actually, we should have 6 favor because we're using the bot. Let's see. Anything else I want to check? No? No. Not much else I can think of that I want to check. I mean, well, there's a lot we could do here. It is the last known civilized world. But I suppose I just kind of want to fly into the frontier and see what there is to find. Now, we do need to determine the location, not of the one we're looking for, but the little forest outpost. So we're going to roll a d10, because I'm going to assume, given that it's a spacer here, that it's somewhere here. So, somewhere here means we're going to roll a d10. Here we go. Oh, wrong menu. There we are. 6. Okay. For the record, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here, let me look for a marker. Bam. There we are. Oh, I have to hit this first. There we go. We are just going to take note of what we learned. Because something could go wrong, we might not be able to head there instantly, so it's always good to make notes. There we are. Okay, so I suppose on our space station we will enter our somewhat cluttered, not in absolute pristine condition ship. It is not brand new, but it's not fallen apart or anything. It is a good little Corvette. I mean, it is old and surplus, but it does have some damage systems on the interior, but it's not, it's not falling apart completely. Anyway, we can also use special FTL. Let's see. I suppose we will just actually depart towards that location, unless we want to take any sort of job, but we don't really have any. We're here for a specific goal, so yeah. That would be, wait, we have a ×1 drive, right? That's important, yes. ×1 drive. That means it's an hour per light year. So it'll take us 12 hours to get to that forested world, unless we want to stop and survey these systems as we go. But I don't think we will. We'll just survey this system because, well, likely if it were that close to the border, we wouldn't be having this whole search. I mean, it could be. The bot could throw a wrench in this and be like, oh no, it was you literally passed it. But the likelihood is super unlikely, so we'll just continue on to this star system. And we will begin searching. To do that, I am going to need to grab a few things. I was very unprepared. uh, we are grabbing our custom Galactic Requiem generator. Uh, First, we'll grab a marker, however. This represents a star system, so we can actually take notes. And I suppose we'll actually do this one manually. We will be fast, though. We're not going to go full, we're just going to do what we need. So, random star system generator. I'm going to roll physical dice because it will be quicker for this section. Far quicker. I have assumed it is going to be a single star. However, I will let that be challenged by the bot. It is a single star. Okay. Next. What is the thing? A giant star? S-class. Okay. So we have an S-class star. And what else? Well, what's in the system? And that is... ba, 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 ba. Here we are. 1, 2. I'm very unprepared. 6, 5, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And lastly, outer system 4. So there's two planets close to this star, 7 in a reasonably habitable area, and 4 in a reasonably habitable area. Outer system can be cold, but could be habitable. So technically, Epi can be habitable, but it's usually hot. So let me add them up. 7, 8, 9, 10, 15. 13 objects in system. Okay, good, good. What next? One of them is a forest. Well, a planet with forests. That's where we make notes. Here we go. Nope. Object 4 is a rocky forested world. Okay. And I suppose we should just head right down there as we scan the system. Of course, we could. It would take time, but we could theoretically generate everything in the system in exceptional detail. Too much detail, even. It would just take a lot of time to do. We could get, oh yes, what exact type of planet is this? Is it terrestrial, Hellion, Jovian, dwarf planet, Hebbian? And then all the subclasses like Hebbian, etc., and then we could go, oh, how many moons do they have? Do they have any special characteristics? What's the gravity of the world? What's the exact size of the world, specifically its diameter? What's the gravity? We could do all that, but that takes a lot of time and swapping between files and scrolling. But we could. We could even be like, what's the chemistry of the world? The chemistry of this world appears to be ammonia. like we could, but could also roll on the biosphere, etc. But we'll save all of that for another time. Hmm? Yes, like a rocky forest. Yeah, we could do planetary tilt. We could theoretically go insane and see what the life zone of the, if it actually falls within the life zone. And we have books that can cover all that with the random generator, but it is a bit much. Yes, I suppose we will actually head towards the planet, burn from the outer system in, which means we'll be passing a lot of the worlds. But I do want a little bit of information on this star system before we do that. We don't need to know what the planets are per se, but we can get a little bit of info on the system itself. General info. Here we are. Anything of note? Roll on this chart. I need my d10s. Roll twice. Okay. Let's try that again. Okay. Gravity and starship. Roll on the starship chart. So, one of the planets here, in fact, has lower gravity and gravitic distortions. So it says gravitic anomalies and the like. So we'll assume it has lower gravity and gravitic anomalies. Neat. As for this ship we've just found, okay, this chart, a salvage or rescue vessel. Hmm. Okay, let's get a bit more information about them. Why are they here? I mean, you jump in, you scan, you see a few worlds, and there's a salvage rescue vessel. Uh, they are neutral and on business. Why? Okay. Oh, towing or linked. They are towing another vessel out of the system. Okay. I suppose one more question for fun. What kind of vessel are they towing out of the system? Huh. They appear to be towing a carrier out of the system. Huh. That's not something you see. Okay, it's something you see in civilized space sometimes, to be fair. But who could have guessed? They are there's a salvage slash rescue vessel pulling a carrier out of the star system. Not what I thought we'd encounter. Um, hmm. I mean, a question for the bot. Does that carrier look in any way, is it active and crude, or is it just being like, is it a hull or a husk? Like, basically, is this rescue or is this salvage? That's an interesting, important, I say important, it's just a question I'm curious about. So, is that ship that it's towing active? Yes. 14 is yes. So they've likely, we can assume, we don't need to roll more, we can assume some. And what we're going to assume is they've likely had some sort of FTL or engine malfunction that's basically forced them to require assistance getting out of the system. Huh, okay. Well, we're not going to be able to engage that in combat. Not that we'd even want to. We're a Corvette, but interesting. We'll let them do what they do. I am a part of me wants to call them and figure out what's going on. Like more specifically, it is unlikely they'd tell some random Corvette crew exactly what happened, but I I must admit, genuinely curious. Like, why? Like, it's not shocking, don't get me wrong, it's not shocking. It's just curiosity and yeah, I'm going to note this in our file because this is a wrong section. I find this interesting and entertaining enough to be worth a note. Entering the for the system. Entering the system of the forest outpost, we detect a planet with gravitational anomalies and a rescue ship towing a, I keep accidentally hitting caps, a carrier with damaged. See, for instance, I wonder if that gravitational anomaly has anything to do with their failure. It is very much a possibility. And is it worth calling them? Void creatures are a myth. At best, you get little things the size of fish on occasion. Sometimes a space whale. Sometimes a space spider. But like you're not likely to run into anything in deep space. You're looking for what's basically the space equivalent to reefs, you know, asteroids, that kind of thing. Fields of debris, fields of plant. That's when you see creatures. Not usually just out there in deep space, and usually not in any way that can hurt a vessel. I occasionally come across eldritch monstrosities, living ice, all sorts of terrible things. But those are rare. Usually it's like space fish in a space reef, eating space plants. True, it is the frontier, but that doesn't mean it doesn't follow the... Places like that are exceedingly rare. I have a speculation that the gravitational anomaly is why that carrier's engines are fucked. I think if they're, I mean, they were neutral. We did try and contact them. They are neutral. Uh, hmm. Questions, questions. I think we will avoid the planet with the gravitational anomaly. Actually, we'll we'll hail them. We'll ask them information. We'll ask them, we will ask them about their ship and what happened for the sake of, if we think about it, gravitational anomalies can make us a bunch of money with the Explorers Guild and Grey Tree. Gravitational anomalies are strange and weird and worth surveying. So we will contact them and ask them what went wrong. For this, we will go to the dice roller. 2d10. Our question is it as I expect? And we're going to add a 4 to it, because it is very likely. 13. Yes, it is as I suspect. And what I suspect is they were in FTL. The FTL course happened to well, travel through the location in which the planet was, and, well, FTL disturbance due to the gravitational anomalies caused their engines to burn out. Basically, a badly calculated FTL jump. They won't specify too much other than, yeah, it was FTL mishap. And I'm inclined to believe them. So we should probably be fine to fly down towards the planet as long as we're careful. That planet, we'll get back to that planet. First, we're going to our forest planet. We're not getting distracted just yet. Not just yet. Right, so we'll burn towards the inner system, letting them go by. It'll take them days. They will be here days. So That's just the nature of traveling through space. It'll also take us days. Less than them, though. We could use our warp drive. If we wanted to be in it, yeah, we could. We're not going to, but we could. We will, yeah, burn towards the inner system, approach the forested rocky world, and we will scan the planet. It has been a while since I scanned a planet. I need to go to our sensors. Here we are, the basic sensor array. Do we have a basic? My question here is mainly, is ours standard or is ours good? Ours is standard. I didn't note a better sensor. Yeah, okay. So the standard sensor, we will need to enter orbit, which we will do. That doesn't take anything to do. Then we need to make a computers check. If we do so, we can analyze the chemical composition of the atmosphere and begin mapping parts of the planet. And of course, see the weather. What is our computers and what are our allies' computers? Here we are. Oh, oh, whoa. Get, get, get out of here, Mac. I was not wrong. No, I didn't. Shoo. Oh, okay. That was uh that was an accident. That was unexpected. I was not expecting the mech. Uh where where were we? We don't have computers. That's where we were. Okay. We have an engineer. Is our engineer any good with a computer? Uh Actually we'll use our criminal subverter. Yes. And that means they will roll with a +6. So, no, 8, 9, 10. +10. Yeah, mech invades. And yeah, it likely is going to rain here. 17. That is a success. Why are all of our rolls so low? Okay. Okay, so we will spend some time with 17 being a success because we had to beat 15. We'll spend some time scanning the planet's surface till we find the structure, which isn't too hard to find. and then we will prepare to set down. And yes, let us double check that statement. We know it is very likely to be rainy, but is it currently raining? Here we are. That's a D100, modified by the planet type. Oh, it's not just raining. No, it is almost a storm out at that section right now. Pelting rain. High winds and pelting rain. Very windy. Okay. I suppose, uh, I suppose we'll try and set down on this place. We'll try and set down. As I completely forget the rules for landing. Specifically, I don't know the exact modifier for landing in heavy conditions. It is at base a DC 20, and you can take 20, -5 per category smaller than medium. Our ship is medium. It's not larger, so there's no bonus or penalty. Adverse conditions can affect this. The conditions are indeed adverse. So let me quickly swap over to my weather book. Environmental rules. Wind. Oop, there we are, wind effects. Visibility and wind. Okay, so for our piloting check, it's going to be a -4. And luckily, we're not piloting, so that will be take, 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 take 20. We're going to very much take 20. This is not the conditions we want to land in. It is very risky. Technically, I don't think we can take 20 on this, meaning we're going to have to risk a roll. We're going to do it safely, so we're going to roll 3d6. And it is +10. And technically we need to beat, because we're taking essentially our time, we are going to need to technically in this case beat 19. And we can roll twice, and we can add a 6 to a roll because we're using our pilot. 25, we don't need to add anything. We succeed very well. Our pilot is able to brace the craft against the wind as we come in, lowering the wind and rain, lowering visibility as it's somewhat dark as we lower in, and the ship shakes slightly, shuddering as it is shoved slightly. But I mean, we have space thrusters. It's not like we're going to be thrown around, but it is a bit of turbulence as our vessel lands somewhat nearby the outpost. It is a little ways away. I will basically walk over to the pilot and say, good job, before, well, checking my kit and preparing to head out. Let's see. What is Albie's kit? Standard kit, light combat torso plate, basic life support system. We actually have woodland camo. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. The question is, do we want to wait for the storm to end or do we want to head out in a storm? I don't know. I kind of want to head out in a storm. It's a bad idea. It's a terrible idea. Landing on an alien world and heading out in a storm. Terrible idea. Let's do it. Albie will check her kit before slowly opening well, cycling the airlock and stepping out into the wind. Luckily, our armor is life support and sealed, so we don't feel the entirety of the cold, but it is initially before the life support kicks in fully. I mean, it's always on, don't get me wrong, but we didn't prepare it for a spacewalk. We didn't set it. It's on as in air, but we don't have our cooling or heating active. So as we step out for a moment, it's a bit chilly before the suit adjusts. And we'll have our shotgun prepared, slung across our torso, ready to use it in case we need to. Don't know what animals are here. This is a not civilized world, so how far is the outpost? For that, we're going to roll a d8. Oh, I always forget. 4. It's relatively close. True. Luckily, we have a computer in our head, so it's not likely we'll get lost. If we were on that magnetic planet, maybe. Well, gravitic planet, maybe. Well, this is a normal planet. We have a computer in our brain. You don't need to worry about getting lost. It's fine. Still a terrible idea to wander out into the into the forest on an unknown alien world in which, for all we know, there could be things that jam us that could in fact get us lost. But look, we're here for the adventure. You gotta take risks. Yeah. Speaking of cold, I'ma fix a thing. There we are. Okay, let's see. So we will basically prepare to begin a journey, but unfortunately, we will call it there. As I am slightly unprepared, and hopefully I can make some more preparations before next time, as I want to use our new adventuring rules for searching and finding things and such. Yes, and my arm is continuing to hurt, so yeah. As always, I have been your host, Casimir Basilius, and I hope that all of you have a wonderful day. Thank you all for stopping by. Ideally, next time will be World Building Wednesday, and then more Solo Sunday on Sunday, theoretically. We'll see what happens. Yes. Anyway, as we continue our adventures, again, have a wonderful day.